let's talk about what a network is. A network is a group of computer systems, which we'll call either a node or a host. If we say node or if we say host, those terms are interchangeable. They're talking about the same thing. That are interconnected in such a manner that they can share information with each other. Now, to set up a network, you need a couple of required components. The first thing you have to have is, of course, the systems themselves that you want to be able to interconnect and have them communicate. So the first thing you need are computer systems. The second thing you must have is some means of connecting all these hosts or nodes together. And that's done with a connecting media. That could be either a piece of coaxial cable, it could be a fiber optic cable. Networks can use a variety of different connecting media. Now, the next thing you have to have is some type of network interface. Think about it. You take a standard PC, and you take a cable and want to plug it in, where do you plug it into? Well, an off-the-shelf PC may not have a network interface built into it. There has to be something in there that connects the host system to the network media. Now, the network interface's job is really complex. Its job is to take digital data from this PC, zeros and ones, then convert them into some type of signal, whether it's electrical signal, maybe it's a light signal, maybe it's a radio signal, and then transmit those signals on the network medium. The other network interfaces in the hosts that are also connected to the medium then receive those signals, electrical, light, whatever, and then translate those signals back into digital data that the other host can use. Now, you also have to have network protocols. Now, what's a protocol? A protocol is an agreed upon standard of how you're going to format information. Why is this important? Well, it's very similar to trying to make a telephone call to somebody who doesn't speak your language. It doesn't work very well, does it? You try to talk and the other person doesn't understand what you're saying, you don't understand what they're saying. Computer networks work in exactly the same way. If this host is configured to use a protocol that this one is not configured to use, these two hosts cannot communicate. Basically, the hosts have to speak the same language. If they don't, they can't communicate. Protocols are those languages. As long as everybody has the same protocol, they speak the same language and they can communicate. Now, you might be asking the question, why would an organization go to all the trouble of creating a computer network? Because to be very frank, networks are fairly expensive to implement. It costs a lot of money to buy the hardware and the cabling and the media, etc. Networks are also expensive to maintain, more so than to implement. In other words, they've got to hire someone like you to keep the darn thing running. Well, why do they do it? The answer is that networks actually save organizations more money than they cost, hopefully. Now, a network allows you to do several things that save money. First of all, they consolidate network storage. It allows you to centrally manage and protect important data. The other thing that they do is they allow you to share peripherals. Let's take a look at our sample network here. Let's suppose in this network we've got a whole bunch of users that have their own workstations. They need to be able to print out documents from time to time. Well, if you don't have a network, how do you allow everybody to print? You're right, you have to install a printer on everybody's workstation. Now, if this network's small, say it has 3 hosts like this one does, you're thinking, oh, big deal, I'll buy 3 printers, you know? Well, what if this network had, say, 2,000 or 3,000 workstations? Do you really want to go out and buy 2,000 or 3,000 printers just so everybody can print? Further, think about it. If you have a printer attached to everybody's workstation, how long is this printer on and working in a given workday? A very small percentage, right? Most of the time you're over here typing, tick, 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 tick. You get your document done, you send it to the printer, and off it goes. Well, most of the day this printer is sitting idle waiting for work. That's a terrible waste of resources. Networks allow you to share peripherals such as printers between hundreds of different users. For example, we can take a printer, we can install a network interface in it, and connect it right to the network. Now, all the hosts on this network can all share just one printer. Now, that printer is going to be running a lot. If you have 100 users on this network and they're all using the printer at the same time, they're going to be cramming the paper out of there. But that's good. That means that printer is being utilized 80 to 100% of the time. You only have to buy one instead of one for every single workstation. This is an efficient use of resources. Remember we said that a network allows you to consolidate storage? Say we have a server right here, and instead of users storing their company data on their local workstations, they save it over here on the server in one storage location. That is a great benefit. In essence, we have, instead of having to buy a huge hard drive for every single workstation on the network, we can buy lower-end systems that have very small hard drives and spend our money over here and put a humongous hard drive in one system. Then, when users need to save, instead of saving it on their local station, they save it over here on the hard drive in this server system. That provides a lot of benefits for you. First of which is the fact that your workstations are a lot cheaper to implement. Second of all, it gives you a central location from which to store and protect your data. Instead of having to back up every single workstation every night to protect your data, you just back up one hard drive in the server. Another reason companies implement networks is to increase communication, both internally within the company and externally with partners, with customers, etc. They do this through a variety of means. First of all, internally, we have the concept of email. Now, think back to the pre-email days. If I needed to send a message to everybody in the company, such as, there's going to be a meeting Friday at 8:30. How do you get that information out? You typed a memo, and then you made hundreds of copies of that memo, and you went around and put it in everybody's box. And then you hoped that they came and checked their mailbox to get the message, right? Email revolutionized that. We don't have to have these humongous mailboxes chock full of paper all the time anymore. Instead, if we need to set up a meeting, we send out an email message. Everybody gets it. You didn't have to spend money on paper, and it went out instantly. Now, externally, networks allow a company or an organization to communicate with folks outside. That might be through a web page. If they need to come and order something, one of your products, they go to your web page. If they need to find out more about your company, they go to your web page. Now, networks are also very useful within companies to increase work group productivity and collaboration. For example, suppose we have a work group here. We have user A, we have user B, and user C. They're members of a team, and their team is charged with designing the latest and greatest version of their company's product. Well, as they work together and collaborate and share ideas and make up design documents and such, they need to share information all the time, specifications, ideas, etc. By using a network, you can create shared storage. You might allocate them a directory on your hard drive called shared or something similar like that. Then when user A has a great idea, user A types it all up, saves it over here in the shared directory, then user B and C can then access that document and look at it. Likewise, say C's over here and she's working on a critical part of the product. She develops her part, she can save it right here, and then A and B can access it to do their part. Computer networks can really facilitate collaboration within an organization. So, to review, a computer network is a group of interconnected systems, and to have that, you have to have a couple of required components, such as the host systems, connecting media, network interfaces, and then a common protocol. And remember that organizations implement computer networks because they actually save the company more money than they cost to implement and maintain.